Yo everyone, Mercurial here. Today I'm gonna do a little comp guide for the new patch and talk about what comps you should be playing right now. And I'm not gonna go through like the very conditional comps, like emblem comps, since like I already made about a video about the emblem comps and it's basically the same. The main difference is that Sorcerer obviously doesn't have a 8 trait anymore, so yeah, if you're playing Sorcerer with the emblem, just play 6 and drop like a Syra. But yeah, let's go into the comps. First of all, we have Urgot reroll, Urgot Tristana reroll. Urgot got a nerf, but it wasn't that big. The comp is still very, very good. And like, if you have many Urgots dropped or Tristanas, or like even one and no one is contesting, you can just play into this and it's going to be really good. You prioritize the Urgot items, then you get Tristana items, try to stack some AD on her with her spell, and yeah, you're going to be chilling. Obviously, roll on 6 here for the 2 cost. Then we have Scrap, which is really good this patch. A lot of comps got nerfed, Scrap didn't, and it's just really good. Um, and as you can see, with your items, you want to prioritize Echo and Quirky items. Besides this, you kind of mainly want to have support items on your front line, maybe like a Sunfire, maybe a Redemption, and then random scrap items on the other scrap units. And then later you can cap it out by adding Rumble and Ilaoi, and you remove like the Sigs, and yeah, you fit Ilaoi on 9. Then we have Academy Sentinel. This is especially good with an emblem. Like, I would probably not play it that much without an emblem. But you have 2 good emblems, both Academy or Sentinel. And even without the emblem, you can still top 4. It's still a good comp. And what you're looking for are quirky and Heimer items, depending on how your early game is a bit. It varies which one you have more of, but late game you want to have both, and you want to tank your Ilaoi, and also have many of the support kind of tank items, so like a Sunfire and Ionic Spark are really nice to have, since you already have so much defensive stats, especially when you go 9 and you can drop blocks for 6 Sentinel. Then we have Enforcer. Forcers didn't really get nerfed or anything, so they're still good. And here, this might look confusing, but I'm just showing 2 different versions of it. Here's one, and above is another. So one of the versions is a GP Elise version. Then obviously your secondary or third carry is GP. And you main carry the Vi in both examples, but you can also put like items on TF and he's going to be a secondary carry. It kind of depends on what the items you get. Like if you get a lot of GP or Ambessa items, you can play one of them. But if you hit a lot of AP items, you can secondary carry TF. And late game, obviously you can play 3 carries. And on your tanks, you don't really look that much for tank items, but you can look like for a Sunfire and stuff like that. Maybe a Ionic Spark if you're playing TF as your secondary. Then we have, oh, this is an interesting comp. I made a video about this before. The Korean guy played it 2 weeks ago or something. Cosmo played it. And basically you reroll Swain and Nami, or even just Swain, and you play Emissary with it. You really want to hit the LeBlanc, so in this comp I'm showing Legendary, but if you don't find LeBlanc, you can play a Zoe until then. But yeah, if you get LeBlanc, you hit Black Rose, which is obviously really, really nice to hit. And for your items, actually something like a big, big recommendation is that exactly these items are super, super good. Like if you look at the stats, we can see all of these are like minus 0.2 and Nasher is plus 0.1 basically. So like the main item you would remove from this build is a guard breaker, But yeah, the difference between minus 0.35 and plus 0.09 is pretty big, and it's the same for the last patch, so it's not that it's a new patch thing. So yeah, I really recommend trying to get the guard breaker if possible. Like, you're not gonna lose if you don't, but yeah, it's pretty big. Then you put the rest of the items on Garen and Ambessa, and maybe some leftovers on Nami. And for this, you reroll on level 7 usually for the Swain. So you want to get Swain 3. So if you're playing into this, you want to have many Swains. Then here we come to, I'm showing two comps in one here because it's basically the same. One of them is that you prioritize the Nocturne. So if you get one of these artifacts, you can do that. You play the Nocturne reroll with the same units, but then maybe you don't get the TF3 and Loris 3. But you can also play without the Nocturne items, and then you play TF Loris reroll, maybe also get the Kali. But yeah, then basically you play around TF and Loris and play around the AP items, not AD items. Yeah. Then we come to Visionary. Visionary got a big buff on 6 Visionary. As you can see here, abilities heal and ally for 18% of damage dealt. So since this comp really wants to stay alive a long time and like kind of be unkillable, this is a very nice effect to have. And because of this, you try to play 6 Visionaries now instead of 4 Sentinel. So you can add like the Nunu and Elise. Later, obviously, you can play the Malzahar. But yeah, this is the main comp right now, and you try to roll for Rel and Renata usually instead, I would say, especially with this 6 Visionary. And you try to not go only for Singed, so I would probably recommend rolling on 6 for this comp now. I'm not completely sure since it's like kinda new, but yeah, it's probably on 6 now instead of level 5. And you go for the Renata and Rel especially. Yeah. And this is also a lot better with the emblem now. So if you get the emblem, the Visionary emblem, it's gonna be really nice for this comp. And then you can fit the 4 Sentinels like you did before, and you drop the Elise. Oh, and then we have a new comp. This is pretty exciting comp. Like, as we can see here, it's a 4.18 average, 6 Sorcerer, so it's definitely pretty nice. And what you do is basically the same as before with the 8 Sorcerer, but you just don't need the LeBlanc, and you can play the Elise and Morgana instead here on level 8. And then later in the game, of course, you add LeBlanc, and you can add like a Cassiopeia on 9 for another Black Rose. And in this comp, you want to play around Zoe and Swain for itemization. So you have one tank, one damage dealer here, and yeah, you're chilling here. You can add like a Sunfire on Elise or something. Pretty good. And obviously roll on level 8 here. If you hit very many Swains, you could maybe roll on 7 and go for like a Swain 3, Nami 3, but yeah, usually you just go for the Zoe and like this, so you can fit 3 Black Rose and 6 Sorcerer as soon as possible. Then we have Silco. I mean, Silco Black Rose. This has existed the whole set, has been good the whole set, nothing new. Um, yeah, one of the best comps to go 9 with as well. You can add a lot of things. You can add Mordekaiser instead of Blitzcrank. You can add LeBlanc as a unit, just add it, no need to replace anything. You can add Jace as a unit, good with Elise. So yeah, and you can even play Rumble in some variations and you drop. So yeah, but yeah, those are main units you play. So like the Jace, LeBlanc, Mordekaiser are the main ones, I would say. And yeah, this you usually want to have a kind of decent start to play into, I would say. Because it's a pretty expensive comp, so you need to hit a lot. And as I said, you kind of want the legendaries, so kind of want to go 9. But if you get there, it's really nice. Then we have Seri reroll, and this is the variation I prefer, the Sentinel version instead of the Firelight, like Watcher one. And basically what you do here is you roll on 5 a lot, and a bit on 4 maybe even for the Singed. But usually mainly on 5, and you try to go for Singed and Seri 3. And if you randomly hit someone else 3, like a Rel, Irelia, or Leona, that is really nice as well. But yeah, it's mainly around Seri and Singed, and you give the attack speed to Seri with Singed. And then you have like some kind of duo carry sniper, like Twitch, and then you can transition into Caitlyn. And yeah, for the itemization, you really need a Gunblade, and the healing is really nice since you're playing 6 Sentinel. For the last item, it doesn't have to be Infinity Edge, but yeah, Infinity Edge is pretty nice, so I recommend it. Last, we have Rebel, which it's kinda sus without the emblem, but I chose to show it because, like, if you get Vex 2, Irelia 2, or like a really good Rebel opener, you can still play it, and like, it's fine. You can even win with it if you hit like a Jinx 2. But yeah, you need a really good opener for it to play it without an emblem. But with an emblem, it's pretty good. And you can look at my emblem guide to learn more about how you can play it with emblem. But yeah, even without, it's very playable. And yeah, those are pretty much all the comps right now. Like you can play a few other things, but like for example, you can play Black Rose Heimer. It's a bit better now with the visionary buffs and stuff, but yeah, these are the main things I would say, and I'm gonna stick to mainly these comps unless I hit like an emblem or maybe a hero augment. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want more guides like this, I can definitely do them, so you just tell me. See you next time.